Good morning. Today is Monday, September 23rd, 2024. Each prayer service is highly structured, and it's very helpful when we attend synagogue to know the structure, how each part leads to the next, how the whole thing fits together. A lot of people, I think, come to shul, and their experience is we sit down, we open the siddur, and we turn the page, and we turn the page, and we turn the page, until the rabbi says, okay, you're invited in for Kiddush. But there's a structure to it, and there's an unfolding of the themes. And if we understand it better, it helps us understand the prayers better. So I want to focus this morning just on Rosh Hashana, and on Rosh Hashana, just on the Musa prayer, and only on the reader's repetition of the Musa prayer. In some ways, this is the main part of the Rosh Hashana service. And if we take a look at just this section, the reader's repetition of the Musa prayer on Rosh Hashana, first day and second day, there is a highly organized structure. There's an introduction with some famous prayers like Unasana Tokef, let us proclaim the significance of this day, and a few other prayers that act as introduction. And then there are three themes: Malchus, Zichronos, and Shofros. Three themes on Rosh Hashanah. Malchus means that we proclaim God as a melech, as a sovereign, as a king. Zichronos means that God is aware of and remembers our actions and our words and holds us accountable for them. And Shofros is the theme of blowing the shofar and what the shofar means and how we are to respond to hearing the sounds of the shofar. So, three themes. Each is expressed by 10 psukim, 10 verses. And the order is highly structured. First, we quote 3 psukim from the Torah, then 3 psukim from the Ksuvim, like Tehillim and those types of works, and then 3 psukim from Navi, from the Nevi'im, from the prophets, and then one final pasuk back from the Torah. So a total of 10 psukim, 3 from the Torah, Ksuvim, Nevi'im, and then the last one from the Torah. That is the structure of Malchus, the first section, and then the exact same structure for Zichronos and for Shofros. And at the end of each section, we blow the shofar. So we have Malchus, 10 psukim, we blow the shofar. Zichronos, 10 psukim, we blow the shofar. And Shofros, 10 psukim, and we blow the shofar. Now, each of these 10 psukim about each of these themes, Malchus, Zichronos, and Shofros, they're not just repetitive. They each overtly refer to that theme. So the 10 psukim about Malchus have the word melech or a form of the word melech in it. Same thing with Zichronos and the word zachar, to remember. Same thing the word with the 10 psukim of Shofros, the word shofar. But each of the 10 psukim within each section is not just a repetition. It's not just a random collection of verses that happen to have the word melech in it. Rather, each of the verses is carefully chosen, precisely chosen, to express a different aspect of this theme, a different emphasis of this theme, a different implication of this theme. And what we really need to do, and this is very important to do, is to study the 10 psukim, for example, for Malchus, What does each pasuk add to my understanding of Hashem as a melech that I would not have understood without that verse? Each one adds something. And the same with zichronos and the same with shofros. Every selection of a verse is adding something, teaching something, filling out the complexity of what that theme means. And we should try to study that before, but at the very least, during the davening, we should try to think to ourselves as we're saying these verses in the silent Amidah, as we're listening to them in the reader's repetition, what am I learning from the second verse that I did not already understand from the first verse? How does it make my understanding more complete? And how by the end of the 10 verses do I have this fuller picture of what it is that I mean when I say that Hashem is a melech, or a zichronos, or shofros? There is one verse, excuse me, that does not seem to fit in to this theme. And that is in the section of Malchus that talks about God as a sovereign. So remember, 3 psukim from the Torah, 3 from Ksuvim, 3 from Navi, and then 1 from the Torah. Okay. The 3 from the Torah all refer to King Hashem as a melech. The 3 from Ksuvim, the 3 from the Nevi'im, all refer to Hashem as a melech, again, in different ways, different contexts, different implications, different nuances of meaning, okay? But the final pasuk, which is now, according to the structure, a pasuk from the Torah, the final pasuk is Shma Yisroel, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem Echad. Hear, O Israel, the Lord our God, the Lord is one. No mention of Malchus. Doesn't say God's a king. Doesn't say God's a sovereign. It's the only one out of all 30, remember, 10 times 3, out of all 30 of the verses that are supposed to be explaining the 3 different themes, this is the only one that, number 1, doesn't mention the word of that theme, and number 2, doesn't seem to have any connection to the theme. I mean, we're talking about Malchus. God is a king. What does that have to do with Shma Yisroel? So I want to share with you an insight of a friend and colleague of mine, Rabbi Menachem Penner, a wonderful scholar, wonderful person. And he starts by asking the following question. What kind of prayer is Shma Yisroel? Shma Yisrael, listen Israel, Hashem Elokeinu, Hashem our God, Hashem Echad, God is one. What kind of a prayer is that? We say this all year round, twice a day. We have 3 categories of prayer in general. We have a category of prayer called Shvach, praises to Hashem, Bakasha, requests that we make of God, and Hoda'ah, saying thank you. Which one is Shma Yisroel? None of the above. It doesn't fit into any of the categories of all the other prayers. All the other prayers fit into one of those 3 categories, not Shma Yisroel. But listen, please, to the insight of the tour. Rabbi Yaakov ben Asher, he lived and worked around the year 1300 in Spain. Rabbi Yaakov ben Asher, sometimes known as the Baal HaTurim, meaning the one who wrote the work Tur. Tur is a work on Jewish law. Rabbi Yaakov ben Asher was the first one to write a code of Jewish law that only covers practically applicable laws. For example, he was writing in the 1300s, not the laws that applied to the Beit HaMikdash, not the laws that applied to the mitzvahs in the land of Israel, not like the Rambam. The Rambam did cover those, but he wrote a practical code of Jewish law, and he is the first one that took all of practical Jewish law and divided it into 4 volumes. Orach Chaim, which means daily life, prayer, blessings, Shabbos, holidays, that's Orach Chaim. Yoredeya, ritual law, keeping kosher, the laws of Shatnes, the laws of mourning, observing the laws of Nida, those ritual laws. Even Ezer, family law, marriage, divorce. And Choshe Mishpat, civil law, the laws of Bet Din, the laws of honest business dealings, and what constitutes stealing and what constitutes infringement on someone's property, civil law. Now that order, that structure was copied by Rabbi Yosef Cairo when he later, maybe about 200 years later, wrote his Shulchan Aruch, the Code of Jewish Law. He maintained the same structure, the same division into 4 categories. But Rav Yosef Cairo, before he wrote the Shulchan Aruch, his main work was a commentary to the Torah called Beis Yosef. That was his most important work. So the Torah was a very, very important scholar, codifier of Jewish law, and commentator on Jewish law. And listen to what the Torah says. So he's writing this in Orach Chaim, the section on daily life, Hilchos Tfilas HaShachar, the laws of the morning blessings, and there's a section called Hilchos Kriyas Shema, the laws of Shema. And included in the laws of saying the Shema, when to say it, and all the details of the mitzvah of saying Shema, he says as follows. Prutgama, Kosav Hamelech al B'nei Mididaso. Instructions did the Melech write for all the king's subjects. Shekriyas Shema, that the Shma Yisroel, who prutgama d'HaKadosh Baruch Hu. It is the instruction of God. It is the mission of God. Fascinating words. In other words, if it's true that Hashem is a melech, Hashem is a king, a sovereign, so that's the first theme. We recited 9 verses so far in Rosh Hashana to assert that God is a melech, and how is God a melech, and what does it mean? But the essence of Malchus, which had not been covered by any of the previous 9 verses, the essence of sovereignty, is not just that we call God melech. It's not just that we're obligated to respect God, to honor God because God is a king. The essence of understanding that God is a melech is that God gives us instructions. We are given a mission. That's what a melech does. A melech gives a mission to the melech's subjects. And the mission that we have, that's Shma Yisroel. The mission that we have is to proclaim to ourselves and to the world, Hashem Echad, there's only one God. And to live with that foundation, that everything comes from God. And that means, of course, that we are obligated in fulfilling the mitzvos, the commandments, because we are subjects of the Melech. And the Melech has given us the instructions, the mitzvos. So this last verse of the first section, this 10th verse, it doesn't mention the word Melech. Yes, that's true. But it conveys the deepest essence of what a melech is. Shma Yisroel is our mission. It is our instructions of how we are to live our lives once we have accepted and understood that God is our melech. This is what the 10th verse of Malchus adds that the previous 9 did not add. And this is also a deeper way to understand the line, the mitzvah of Shma Yisroel, every day, twice a day, when we say Shema throughout the entire world. When we say Shema throughout the entire year, When we say Shema every day throughout the entire year, we should be thinking to ourselves, this is the instruction that the King has given me. This is the mission that I have as a Jewish person in life. That's what we should think about the Shema all year. And that's the reason that Shema Yisroel, though it does not mention the word Melech, is the 10th verse that expresses the essence of this first theme, that God is our sovereign. My friends, I wish you a great day, and I look forward to seeing you soon in person.